for the fact that you showed up here shows that you know what the current trend is. Can you put your hands together for yourselves, please? So, quickly, I have just a few minutes to unbundle a lot of things, and I will try as much as possible to do what I can. They told me that the time is really short, and the topic I will be looking into is decoded, making sense of tomorrow's technology today. Making sense of tomorrow's technology today. You will agree with me that our world is changing. Our world is changing and changing very fast. If you pay attention to what has been happening in the news and everywhere, you will see that there is a complexity that is going on in our universe today. And just like Mr. David was saying, you have to really pay attention and understand what is going on. I will try to rush through a lot of things as much as I can, but the idea is that you don't have any excuse for your tomorrow. There is absolutely no excuse. And we are going to look at all the definitions, what decoded means. You've heard technology, but I will try as much as possible within the shortest time frame to show us a version of technology that you may or may not have seen before. Right? So I will start with this opening scripture quickly. Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11. Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11. And this is King Solomon. It's a scripture that virtually everybody here is familiar with. And I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to them all. Now, this is the anchor point of what I want us to look at. If you pay attention very well to that statement, I'm going to bring it into technology, show us the historical concept, what it is today, and what the future will look like. We'll try to preempt what the future will look like. Because if you pay attention to the Bible, you will understand that it has been recorded that there is nothing new under the what? Sun. If you think that anything is new, check. It has happened in the time past. So one of the quickest ways for you to really understand what goes on in the universe is to check historical fact and concept. Bring it into your present and try to forecast what the future will look like. And we have a template here. If you are observing that verse very well, you see the beginning statement, I returned. So the first question you need to ask yourself today as a young person, what was Solomon trying to say here? Where did he go to? We are talking about the future, right? You want to understand and decode a lot of things. Solomon is giving us a concept. And I returned and saw. And he started listing what. So if you can put it in this context, Solomon traveled into the future. Or he left his era and went into another era and came back and is downloading for them the things he observed. It's just like saying or referencing the parable of the talent. The master gave people talent. 5, 2, and 1. Remember that story in the Bible, right? He traveled and came back and they started giving account. It's the same concept that he's taking up here. He started mentioning very important and silent points. Please follow me. I'm trying to rush a lot of things. The race is not to the swift. Have you been told that if you need to win any race, you need to be fast, right? If you want to win any race, you have to be fast. The battle is not to the strong. It's something that we've been told. You need strength in anything that you do. For you to win any battle, you have to be strong. But Solomon is saying no. Nor riches to, nor bread to men of what, nor bread to the wise. Wisdom is the principal thing. In all you're getting, get what? In all you're getting, get what? But Solomon is saying something here. It is not about just getting wisdom. He went on further to say, nor riches to men of understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. In all you're getting, get on that. But Solomon is telling us that it is not enough. He now went on to summarize it after mentioning, nor favor to men of skill. Time and chance happens to what? To them all. So the foundation I want to lay for us here is this. no matter what you are doing today, no matter the industry, the field of endeavor you find yourself, you have to remember that it is going to change. Time and chance will happen to it. Whatever that you call skill today, whatever that you call strength today, whatever that you call understanding today, time and chance will happen to it. Irrespective of where you are as a young person or as an adult, the question you need to start asking yourself is, what is it? What can you call strength in your world today? What can you define as skill in your industry? Because by the time I come into technology, you begin to see that we have lived in this universe for a very long period of time, and human beings have been able to innovate at a level. There was a time there was no technology like we know it today. There was a time when the fastest means of transportation was your two legs, true or false? There was a time, imagine if I took you back in history, say 14th century, and I was telling you that a time will come in this world when human beings will enter a metal, fly into the atmosphere, defy the law of gravity, and land at a destination, crossing oceans and seas. Do you think you will believe me? I'm referring to an aeroplane that we have today. So the idea is that whatever that is a skill, whatever that is understanding or wisdom, it is going to change. So the earlier you begin to architect, please can we celebrate our senior pastor? Please, you can do better than that. Welcome, sir. So the earlier you begin to understand what it means to position yourself intelligently, it will go a long way in helping you. Now I move into some other aspect of, because of my time. Every 500 years, something happens in the universe. I'm trying to draw an analogy for you before I come into the definition of technology and the rest. If you check the history books, you will understand that every 500 years, something major happens in the world, and that thing resets the universe as you know it. Year 500 AD, the Roman Empire fell. Year 1000 AD, something major happened. I don't want to include it in our conversation. Then year 1500 AD, we had what we call the Renaissance era. The Renaissance era is an era where there was an explosion of knowledge. Prior to that era, people were excluded from some intellectuals, from materials that will help them to learn. But during that era, it also gave birth to what we call the Reformation, the Martin Luther Reformation. And knowledge exploded. Now, if you add 500 years to that era, the 1517 of that era, it ended in 2017. Remember what I'm trying to show you, a timeline. Every 500 years, something happens. That timeline ended in 2017. Pay attention. Is it a coincidence that COVID took place in 2019? If you check that historical trend, every 500 years, something happens in the universe. And when that thing happens, the software running the universe updates itself. This is verifiable data. You can check it. COVID happened. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you observe that all these AI technologies, all these generative AI, and so on and so forth, it started becoming mainstream immediately after we left the COVID era? True or false? OpenAI launched ChatGPT November 2022. Let me give you another fact. Do you know that all these social media apps you have today, Facebook, and so on and so forth, they started at the beginning of the new millennium, year 2000. You had Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth. What does that tell you? Every season and every dispensation has its strength. They can define what it means to have skill, understanding for you. And the only thing you need to do is to understand what that strength is and plug yourself into the dispensation you are in. And can I tell you, the technology we'll have today is powered by AI. In all these things that I've said, you need to start asking yourself, what does it mean for me? Because if you don't understand what is going on, a time will come when all the things you call skills, you go to the university, you learn for like 4 years, a machine today is learning those same set of skills in 2 weeks. In less than 2 weeks. How can you compete with that technology? And I gave a brief definition of what technology is. Anytime you hear the word technology, it means two things. Taken in grift and logos. So taken means craft or skill or art. That's the etymology of the word technology. And if you take it further, it means anything that can give you speed, ease, and efficiency. That's the idea of technology. And it is affecting anything that we are doing in our world today. The strength of this age is intelligence. Anything that you are doing, if you are not plugged into the strength of this age, trust me, it is going to make you irrelevant in the nearest future. Because our world has changed. And when complexities are intensified, the only solution is to run to knowledge so that you can update yourself. You should not be comfortable studying anything in the university without learning a skill by the side. It is not just enough to learn a skill. You have to find out what is the strength of this skill I'm trying to learn. I hope you know there was a time the idea of being computer savvy is for you to know how to use Excel. True or false? There was a time if you are an Excel specialist, you'll be a powerful individual. You'll be so powerful you won't even believe it. But today, where are those skills today? So what am I trying to say? Technology has helped the human condition. We started with manual labor. That's where the word man came from, manus. It means manual. There was a time this universe was very crude. There was a time this universe was very slow. There was a time this universe was very dark. Human beings started innovating and innovating up until what we have today. We moved from manual to machines. Now we are moving into the mind. So it is manual, machinery, which is industrial revolution, and now we are moving into the intelligence era. If you don't know how to deploy your mind, like Mr. David was saying, you know, when you interact with you today, they will give all kinds of excuses. But the truth is, this person talking to you today, I used to be a customer care agent in the bank. Pre-COVID. You know those people that when you enter the banking hall, they will tell you, welcome to this bank, how may we help you? You know them, right? That was my role. I had to learn how to code, learn how to use most of the technology tools that you know today while working as a customer care agent. It wasn't easy. I still have some remnant of my battle, waist pain and so on, because I told myself, is this the industry or is this the skill that you want to be manifesting in the near future? And I started observing. I had to disrupt myself. It cost me a lot, but I did it. Today, leading a tech team and so on, building something in AI and natural intelligence. But the idea is that anytime you think your problem is out there, you are empowering what is out there to influence you. Anytime you think the solution is not in you, you cannot change, you cannot upgrade, you cannot disrupt yourself. Trust me, something has already started lying to you. You are living under a terrible deception. And so as we move into the final session, I want to show us a framework that you can use very, very easily to reposition yourself. Because original intelligence gave us natural intelligence. Original intelligence is God. He created all things, right? We have natural intelligence, which are the things that God created. Then natural intelligence gave us artificial intelligence. Inside natural intelligence, we have 3 segments: plant and animal intelligence, environmental intelligence, and human intelligence. So one of the ways you need to reposition yourself going into the future, if you really want to own your future, you have to start architecting your own design. And you need a framework for it. It's called the Human Intelligence Framework. Trust me, if you don't start the reorganization of your abilities, a time will come, what you call skills today, you can't use it to exchange value in the near future. Do you know why? Do you know that the people pushing barrow today, they are still employed? I hope you know. Do you know that it's a means of transportation? a means of carrying luggage, logistics and so on. But what is the value that they are communicating in the economy? I'm not saying the skill you are learning today will go. It will still be there. But when you ask yourself, what is the return of this investment in 20 years' time, in 10 years' time, what will be your value? The human intelligence framework. Please, if you can put it up. Number one is purpose intelligence. Number two, design intelligence. Number three, emotional intelligence. With these three frameworks, you can bulletproof yourself from whatever automation. I know a lot of people are afraid that AI will take your job. If you understand what you need to do now, you will govern those machines that will be used in the future. The truth is that they are going to take away a lot of jobs, so don't let anything deceive you. I was returning from Abuja the other day. I was chatting with an HR personnel. He was saying, AI, I don't think AI will take anything. In my mind, I was like, if you only have an idea, the type of softwares, the type of things people are building, you will not be making this statement. So number one is purpose intelligence. What is purpose intelligence? Purpose intelligence answers the question of who you are. The era of AI is going to eliminate whatever that is common amongst men. If you are just doing what everybody is doing, trust me, you will not find value. You will be irrelevant in the future. So what purpose intelligence will help you to do is to define who you are. Everybody here has a unique configuration. I hope you know that. Your thumbprint is the only thumbprint on this planet. Your iris is the only iris on this planet. Your facial expression, that's why you have it in biometrics. When you understand your design, there is something I call DNA. It's not the popular DNA that you know. It is your designated natural ability. Your designated natural ability. Without it, going into the future, you will not be relevant. And by the time you define your DNA, you will move into the next phase, which is your design. Because purpose precedes design. If you don't understand your purpose, you won't be able to design your outcome. Because this world, as you know it, it was designed by fellow men like you. There was a time there was no phone. There was a time there was no applications. The world used to be very dark, but people created those products, gave it to you, and you are now living as if without those products you can't survive. What is stopping you from creating your own? So design intelligence is the idea that you can deploy your abilities, galvanize it, and send it on an errand. This is where you have both critical thinking, creative thinking, problem-solving abilities, analysis, brainstorming. And it is very funny that people, the way they use ChatGPT today is unfortunate. Let me tell you something, guys. You are not supposed to be consuming these technologies just like that. If you continue using ChatGPT for everything you need to use your brain for, a time will come, you will wake up, you can't solve the list of problems that are facing you. So what you need to do is to understand how you are going to channel it to help your mission. You have to use your brain. I heard that when they give some secondary school students, they will go and use ChatGPT and submit their result. You are killing yourself gradually. Gradually. And the last part of it is emotional intelligence. It's not the type of emotional intelligence you know. First of all, I define emotion as energy in motion. Energy in motion. Now, you have to understand that you are an energy being. The universe is made up of energy. Every environment, this atmosphere, you, this microphone, everything is energy. And you have to see yourself as a manager of emotions. Let me give you an instance. You went to work on Monday morning. You met your colleague. Probably he had a quarrel with his husband or wife, and you guys had an exchange. So, understanding the fact that you are an energy manager, he or she sent a bad emotion to you. What you need to do is to understand that I need my energy for work. Remember, if you find out your purpose, if you find out your design, if you don't deploy your energy, all those three segments will be useless because you need your energy for work. So what you need to do is to accept that energy. You don't react. You sit with it, analyze that energy, and decide whether you are going to diffuse it with silence or return it back as empathy. What you are trying to do is to manage the little ability you have with you, because you need your energy to work. This is also where your attention, your focus, your discipline, because when you sleep and wake up, you have 100% energy level. As you begin to interact online, offline, your energy starts depleting. Why do you think you can't do any creative work? You are wasting your energy without knowing. So your ability to manage these resources that you have will go a long way to determine if you are going to design your future, if you are going to identify your purpose and make meaning out of your life. Now, I go to the last slide. This framework is powered by the next framework I'm going to show you, the ICA model for growth. If you check the circles, you will see ignorance, knowledge, and what? Action. Now, whatever I have said, you have to understand that these three circles, we operate in it every day of our lives. There is an area of your life that you are ignorant in. There is an area of your life that you have knowledge in. There is also an area of your life that you are taking action. But look at the first circle. My people perish because of what? Lack of knowledge. Don't let anything deceive you that you can make progress without acquiring knowledge. And there are three aspects of knowledge, three categories. The first one is, three categories of ignorance. The first category is gaseous ignorance. The type of ignorance that is still in the gaseous state. It has not started manifesting. Then you have the liquid ignorance. You see, that liquid ignorance, it is now taking shape. If you don't manage it, it is going to go into the next one, which is the solid state ignorance. You know that portion of the Bible that says, strong weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty to the pulling down of what? Stronghold. If you enter solid state ignorance, that's your situation. Now, there is another level called strategic ignorance. See, this is the ignorance that you know you are ignorant, but you are not willing to change. And a lot of people radiate that effortlessly. There is another circle that I didn't mention. It's called nescience. Nescience is you are not aware that you are not aware. You are not aware that you are not aware. So you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. Just like what is happening in our world today, a lot of noise. You think you are making progress, but the truth is, you are in that category. Why do you need to move? If you don't, there is a portion of the Bible that said, desire without knowledge is not good. Proverbs. If you don't pay attention to these instruments, you are not going to make any progress. And if you check, there is an opposing force in that first circle. Complacency. It is always with you. You will be complacent. But what you need to do is to find a way to get an escape velocity from ignorance to knowledge. Knowledge is the beginning of your restoration. By the time you enter into this knowledge circle, you will have to sit with information and find a way to apply it, because it's not enough to just have knowledge. You can have knowledge, but if you don't apply it, it's still useless. Because the goal of any transformation, the goal of any knowledge or intelligence is to lead you to transformation. And the last circle is action. Now, this is the circle where you are achieving results. But the truth is, by the time you get to action, if you don't use your hand to go back to ignorance level, you will not make the next level possible. This is why they give us updates every time. By the time you achieve something, build a product or a solution, you have to use your hand and disrupt that product again back to the ignorance stage. And what it will help you is with feedbacks. You begin to see the levels of growth you've made, where you are going to need to make adjustment. And in summary, because of our time, the idea is that our world is changing and changing very fast. You have to really understand that nobody is coming to help you, especially in our climate today. Look at what is going on in our government, in our environment. the earlier you understand that the instrument God has given you, you can deploy it to your own benefit. You can deploy it and get optimal performance. Because in the nearest future, whatever that is common amongst men, it will not be something that you will use to get value. If you are in the category of the masses, what everybody is doing, you are online, you will not make meaning. And remember, life is in three phases. Life is in three phases: survival, strategy, and dominion. Survival, strategy, and dominion. Everybody starts off surviving. Every human being you can think of. As a matter of fact, you survive the womb, you survive being a baby. But not everybody goes over to strategy. For you to architect your way into strategy, you have to deploy all these things I've listed. Because our environment is filled with survival mentality. And you keep on blaming and passing blames across. But the idea is that everything you need is with you. If you can galvanize your abilities, if you can galvanize your energy, if you can understand what technology can help you do, how it can reposition you, how you can apply it in this era of intelligence, you can begin to architect your way slowly. Because if you don't do so, you will be stuck in survival. Remember, we came from a source, which is God. We ourselves are resources with the end goal of being resourceful. So it is source, resources, and resourcefulness. If you don't understand these dynamics, you will be a servant and a casualty of the future. And you are still young. Just project yourself into the next 10 years. Project yourself into the next 15 years. Can you picture how your life will be like? Can you begin to imagine what you need to do so that you can reposition yourself and take your place in the scheme of things? Because this universe is always innovating. As a matter of fact, the word universe is uni and verse. Uni means one. Verse means to take it with verse 1, verse 2, and so on. So the idea is take what was made and take it to its next level. Does it sound like the instruction that God gave us? Be fruitful, go into the world, multiply, and replenish the planet. Does it sound like that? That's the idea of the word universe. So you have to really take your place. You are not here to just consume and give excuses. You are here to architect your way. In every dispensation, there are casualties and there are kings. It is what you do with your life, with your energy, with your design that will determine the outcome of your life. And I leave you with this last quote. The ABC of life. I have like two of it, but I'll just drop the simpler one. All of us sitting down here are artists who breathe to create. You are an artist who is breathing to create. The choice is yours. If you can begin to position yourself and galvanize all your abilities, deploy this human intelligence framework, apply this model for growth, and think creatively, I can bet you the casualties of the future will be there, but you will not be part of it. I hope I've helped you. Thank you.